Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Craig Jahelka, General Manager of WBOC-TV. Tonight, we invite you to learn more about the two leading candidates who want to be Maryland's next governor. WBOC has partnered with Maryland Public Television, as well as stations in both Baltimore and Hagerstown, to ensure this debate is carried throughout the state. So, for the next hour, we'll broadcast this debate commercial-free, and we'll stream it live on WBOC.com. With the general election fast approaching, it's our hope this broadcast helps you make an informed decision about the men who would be governor.
Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I am honored to serve as your moderator for the debate between Maryland gubernatorial candidates Democrat Anthony Brown and Republican Larry Hogan. For our candidates, tonight's debate is one final opportunity to speak directly to you, the voters, and make their case for leading our state. Now, there's something special about tonight's program. It is a statewide debate in every measure of the word. It's being seen in every county, thanks to our partners at Maryland Public Television, as well as being broadcast on WBAL-TV, WBOC-TV, and WHAG-TV. It is also being aired in its entirety on WBAL-AM. But it's not just the reach of the program, it's the issues. Tonight, the candidates will be questioned by panelists from 3 TV stations representing 3 diverse geographic areas of our state, the Metros, Shore, and Western Maryland. Questions will be regional and statewide in scope, making sure that no issue is off the table. Now, to introduce our panelists. First, my colleague from WBAL-TV, Deborah Weiner. Also, Steve Hammond from WBOC. And from WHAG, Jeff Bowers. So regardless if you call Wicomico or Garrett County home, this debate has you covered. As for the format, each candidate will have 1 minute to answer the question posed by our panelists. There will be a 30-second rebuttal and a 30-second response. And not every question will automatically have a rebuttal. As moderator, I'll work to keep the debate moving, but will not interrupt respectful political debate for the sake of a stopwatch. So let's begin. Each candidate will have an opening and closing statement of a minute. During a coin flip, it was determined that Mr. Hogan would address the voters first. Mr. Hogan, the floor is yours.
Well, good evening, and thank you very much for having us tonight. Folks, I'm not a professional politician. I'm just a small businessman and a lifelong Marylander who loves this state. And I'm concerned that our state is way off track and heading in the wrong direction. Rather than just sit back and accept the status quo, I decided to stand up and to try to do something about it. I've been traveling all across our state, and I've had the opportunity to listen to Marylanders from all walks of life. And the common theme I keep hearing is frustration. The average Marylander is really tired of partisanship and professional politicians who don't seem to ever solve the problems. And they're looking for new leadership that will bring real, common sense, bipartisan solutions to the serious problems that face us. As governor, that's exactly what I intend to do.
Thank you, sir. Lieutenant Governor, welcome.
Thank you, Jason. I want to thank the viewing audience, both in the studio and at home. I'm running for governor because, like you, I believe that Maryland's a great state. The work we've done together to drive crime down to levels we haven't seen in 4 decades. We've built some of the best schools in the nation, and we lead the nation in college affordability. We're only one of 6 states that have come through the Great Recession with a AAA bond rating, which enables us to invest right here in Maryland. But this election isn't about the past and where we've been. This election, for sure, is about the future, what's next, and the opportunities we create for more and more Marylanders. For 30 years, I've had an opportunity to lead soldiers, train them, care for them and their families, been on a lot of important missions in service to our country. Today, I'm on a different mission. The fight is different, but just as important for Maryland families. Because come this November, on November 4th, Marylanders are going to wake up and go to the polls. And there's a real choice. Are we going to wake up every day fighting for Maryland's working families and middle-class values? Or do we go back to a day when we favor large corporations, wealthy corporations that need the help the least? I'm going to wake up every day with Ken Ullman and Marylanders fighting for working families and middle-class values.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. Now, it was determined that Lieutenant Governor Brown will have the first question, and it will be asked by WBAL's Deborah Weiner. Now, after that, the questions will alternate between the candidates to who answers first. BOC, then HAG will follow WBAL with their questions. So we'll start and get right into the issues. Deborah, you're up first.
Jason, thank you. When it comes to education, it's like there are two Marylands, with wonderful headlines about kids who do well and horrible headlines about the kids who do poorly, oftentimes in urban areas like Baltimore, which is heavily financed by the state. You've both acknowledged the achievement gap. What are you going to do about it, and how are you going to pay for it?
Sure. I think I envision a Maryland where every child, regardless of where your family lives or where they're from, has access to a world-class education. We have some of the best schools in the country, but our work continues until every child has an outstanding education right here in Maryland. And that's why I support universal voluntary pre-K. Whether you ask a college president or a kindergarten teacher, what can we do to improve educational outcomes? They point to pre-K education. That's why I've put forward a proposal, and not only a proposal, but this year we've already begun to implement pre-K in Maryland. That's where Mr. Hogan and I fundamentally disagree. Mr. Hogan says that we can't afford pre-K, yet he's willing to give a tax break to the largest corporations. That's not right.
Mr. Hogan.
Well, first of all, we do have some of the most wonderful schools in the country right here in Maryland, and we should be proud of that. If you happen to be lucky enough to grow up in Montgomery County or in Howard County or a couple of other areas, if you grew up in a wealthy neighborhood, you do get a world-class education. But unfortunately, the gap between our best schools and our worst schools is one of the worst in the entire country, and it's growing even wider over the past 8 years. The gap between white students and minority students has grown wider as well and is also one of the worst in the country. I agree with the Lieutenant Governor that we want a world-class education for every single child in Maryland, and we haven't been able to do that for the past 8 years. We've tried, but we haven't really made a whole lot of success. I think there are a number of things we can do. It's not just money. We've doubled spending on education. We're now spending $6 billion, and that happened during both the Ehrlich administration and the O'Malley-Brown administration, but it hasn't solved the problem. One of the things that I want to try to do is to bring better schools to the neighborhoods that don't have better schools, and I've been a big proponent of charter schools. When I was serving as a cabinet secretary in the Ehrlich administration, we passed the first charter school legislation here in Maryland. It was watered down by the legislature, and then the O'Malley-Brown administration failed to implement it, so that we're now 50th in the nation in charter schools, but it's had wonderful success in many places around the rest of the country, and it's something I would push very hard to accomplish.
We're going to jump in here after the minute. Lieutenant Governor, would you like to jump in, or should we move on?
Sure. Just to set the record straight, Maryland leads the nation when it comes to reducing the achievement gap by income. We're making considerable progress in reducing the achievement gap by race and ethnicity. And when you look at students of color, they're leading the country. They're ranked either number 2 or 4 in 4th grade and 8th grade reading and English. So we're making progress, but yes, we have more work to do. So it's not only pre-K, but also in the proposal that I've laid out, and we can do it within existing resources, more school-based health clinics. Also, feeding children in school, because no matter how good a teacher is in the front of the classroom, if a student has their stomach talk to them because they're hungry, they're not going to be able to focus on that quality education that we're delivering. So there are a number of factors that go into achievement, to closing the achievement gap, to build on the progress that we're making.
Sure, and sir, you have 30 if you want it.
Well, let me just address the comment that the Lieutenant Governor made, and he tends to make it a lot, and he says that I want to take away money from children and give it to the wealthiest of corporations in Maryland. It's just absolutely false, but he keeps repeating it over and over again. Here's the facts. When you increase the corporate tax rate to 8.25%, it drove most of the businesses out of the state, 8,688 of them. I thought it was a bad idea. And that's where he comes up with, I want to take money away from kids and give it to the richest of corporations. But in fact, under your administration, the New York Times says you gave $544 million to just a handful of the richest corporations in corporate giveaways, something I wouldn't do.
All right, we'll have to leave that issue there and we'll move on. Steve Hammond from WBOC.
Jason, thank you. Gentlemen, agriculture is a huge part of the Eastern Shore. Growers of both crops and chickens take a lot of pride in the steps that they've already taken to help clean up the Chesapeake Bay. But farmers say the regulations keep coming, the latest being the phosphorus management tool. Farmers say it's costly. Environmental groups say it's necessary to help the bay. Where do you stand on the PMT? Will your administration enact and enforce it?
Mr. Hogan, you're up first.
Well, thank you. It's a great question, and I've been very involved in this issue. First of all, I'm very happy to have the endorsement of the Maryland Farm Bureau. I've spent an awful lot of time on the shore with the poultry industry, with the grain industry. I've sat down with Jim Perdue, and I've talked with farmers all across our state, but particularly on the shore. I helped lead the fight against the phosphorus management tool when they came out with these regulations that were so burdensome and so onerous that it was really going to decimate the entire poultry industry and grain industry on the Eastern Shore. Look, we all agree that we need to do more to clean up our greatest treasure, the Chesapeake Bay. And phosphorus management is something that's very important. But when you don't bring all the stakeholders to the table to sit down and get their input, and you pass just onerous regulations that could devastate an entire region of the state and kill one of our biggest industries, that's when it's gone too far. And we have to find a balance. We got it stopped last summer, and they're continuing to work on it, but we're going to do everything we can to make sure we come up with real environmental protections that don't put entire regions of the state or industries out of business.
Lieutenant Governor.
Poultry industry is a very important industry in Maryland. It hires literally tens of thousands of Marylanders. I, too, have had an opportunity to sit down with Mr. Perdue. I visited chicken farmers and even chicken farmers in Mr. Perdue, just like environmentalists, just like local government officials recognize that we have a responsibility to take a balanced approach to how we protect and preserve the environment. That's why over the last several years, and why today I stand in the tradition of Marylanders who understand we have to take a balanced approach. There's a requirement for farmers to reduce agricultural runoff. We'll work with them. The phosphorus management tools, we'll implement them provided that they're not going to drive the poultry industry out of business. The poultry industry is too important. But we also need to continue to upgrade our wastewater treatment plants. We need to continue working with local government to upgrade the stormwater management plants, reducing the impacts on the Chesapeake Bay. We've done a lot of good things with the agricultural community, like the manure transport program, like the cover crop program, and like putting more land into program open space. We can implement phosphorus management tools in a balanced way that does not drive poultry out of Maryland, and that's how we'll do it.
Gentlemen, I think we'll keep moving, or would you like to
Yeah,
have
I'd
your
like
30?
to address that if I could. I mean, it sounds as if the Lieutenant Governor agrees with me, but here's the fact, Lieutenant Governor Brown. You and Martin O'Malley presided over these ridiculous phosphorus management tool regulations that we're talking about decimating the entire, and you say now you want balance. That's not what happened. I can tell you that a couple of weeks ago, I had an event in Cambridge. It was watermen and farmers for Hogan. Over 1,500 people showed up, and they are really hurting over there on the shore, and they're really angry about the regulations that you and the governor were trying to push through. So it's hard to say now you agree with me, but you're the ones that actually caused the problem.
Would you like your 30?
Listen, it's a balanced approach. And to explore and look at the phosphorus management tools, that's responsible stewardship of the environment. There's a reason why the phosphorus management tool has not gone forward. Right now, we're looking at the economic impact. Because as I stated, we're not going to implement the PMT if we're going to drive the poultry industry into extinction in Maryland. There are too many jobs that rely on that. We'll strike a balance, not just a balance in PMT, but a balance with all of the things that we do to protect the environment, whether it's PMT, whether it's stormwater runoff, whether it's wastewater treatment plants. It's a balanced approach. That's the tradition in Maryland, Larry.
Well, you didn't take a balanced approach, and it practically killed an entire industry, and I led the fight to try to stop it.
Gentlemen, we're going to keep moving. We'll head west to Jeff Bowers. He's with WHAG. How are you, Jeff?